Rome 2. How to deal with elephants. African elephants, 5 to 6 tons. When they hit infantry, it hurts. So, I've created a Carthaginian army here, which is near my own in size and quality, plus they have elephants. If they do it right, they will send the elephants towards my infantry, they will bash it badly. If I do it wrong, I'll send my cavalry to deal with their elephants and they'll get mauled badly. So basically this is going to be a bit of a challenging fight. So I find this terrain and 2 hills. I figure if I put myself on the first hill, that'll be bad because they'll take the second hill, they won't attack, I'll have to attack uphill. I will run for the second hill. And you see my setup here, line of infantry, legionary cohorts, great troops, I love them. They're in the center, 2 cavalry on the left, 2 cavalry on the right. A conservative, balanced approach, and then of course the skirmishers in front, goes without saying. A balanced approach that typically is, pretty good. But as I approach the hill, I see they're already there, and they're leading with the elephant, so I'm going to get my general the hell out of there, and my cavalry down there. Let's see what they do. I realize I need to take position on the first hill. I don't want to take position at the bottom of the valley. That's just a death trap. So I pull myself back, and as it turns out, I pull him in. His elephants are basically doing a lone charge. Now, my view from the beginning of the battle has been, if I can somehow isolate and take out the elephants, and here I send my cavalry to distract them and hold them off a bit, while my skirmishers get in to shoot them. If I can take out his elephants first, I will have the upper hand, I can decide the battle rhythm, and I can win the battle. And so my basic plan is A, take out the elephants, B, create a strong flank, either right or left, with all the cavalry, and use that cavalry to batter down his one flank while holding him off on the other weaker flank. That's my basic plan. As it turns out, we've got hills to cover our flanks, so we'll see how that works out. Now, his elephants have followed me all the way in. I've sent my infantry in to attack them, and you see the pilums flying there. Now, this is the thing about Roman legionary cohorts, or Roman infantry in general. They have these 2 pilums each. They are deadly. These elephants got blasted, whacked, totally obliterated, and then he sends in his general for some reason. So I send all my cavalry, which is now gathered on my right flank, a hill on my left flank, great for cover, and my skirmishers out front trying to deal with his archers. I just miss his general, but I give him a bit of a scare, so he won't be a factor in the rest of this battle. But at this point, I see he's sending a lot of troops down, and you've got to protect your cavalry. Right? You cannot get yourself into a state of mind where cavalry can win the battle by itself. It cannot. It needs to be supported. My mantra is always get as much of your army engaged simultaneously as you can. Don't fight local battle. When you hit something, hit it hard with everything you can muster. I don't know why that cavalry is running back. I want to draw him in. Okay, his elephants are following, his cavalry and his general are more clever. And here we go, here's the trap set again. Infantry goes in, pilums will start flying, elephants will have a bad day. And there we are. Now, legionary infantry, legionary cohorts, is the invention of Gaius Marius, who reformed the Roman army around 100 BC, thereabouts, give it to 30 years. Before that, they had this setup with hastati in the front line, princeps in the central line, both sword and shield infantry, and then triarii, which was the veteran infantry armed with spears in the third line, which was a fairly complicated but also fairly flexible maneuvering. It was based on the century and the maniple, which was a smaller tactical unit than the cohorts that Marius formed. Marius also improved the equipment, he homogenized the equipment. So anyway, you see I'm now putting my skirmishers out front, the legionaries in behind to support them, trying to entice him to run downhill and attack me. Anyway, back to Marius. Marius's reforms lasted created an army that lasted about 500 years. It didn't significantly change its setup for 500 years, even at the point where the Roman army starts taking in more auxiliaries, more local troops. The basic style of fighting is based on a cohort, a unit of very heavy infantry with supporting archers and supporting cavalry, but the infantry is the battle-winning element, which is somewhat odd when you see what everyone else was doing. Most of the African and Eastern states had cavalry, heavy cavalry, or horse archers as their battle-winning element. No one had infantry. I guess the Franks and the Goths later on had, but that quickly evolved into the medieval heavy lancer knight style battle-winning element. And then eventually you've got the longbow as the battle-winning element in the battles of Crécy and Poitiers and Agincourt, as you probably know. So anyway, we've got a bit of a duel here. I'm trying to entice him to attack. He doesn't want to attack. I'm whacking his archers. There he goes. He breaks formation. I send in my cavalry, and we'll see what happens. He pulls them straight back again. I cannot get him to leave that position, and I do not want my infantry attacking uphill, so let's see. There we go. Now he's moving. He's sending his cavalry in. I'm thinking 4 against 2, plus some archers. I can do that, so I will attack now on the right flank with my cavalry, prepared to pull it out if the fighting gets too hot, and at the same time I'm going to hit him in the center where he's now disorganized with my legionaries. Now these legionaries, once they get moving, oh boy, you don't want to get in the way of that. So there we are. He makes another mistake, which you may notice. He keeps his archers out front. Now I've now moved my skirmishers in behind, thereby preserving the power of my artillery, and he basically puts his archers in the way of my legions, my cohorts. Bad idea. They are going to get overrun. And here we have impact in the center. There's a tough cavalry fight going on the right. My legionnaires hit Milan just in time to prevent him from reinforcing the cavalry with infantry, and I start getting the better of it. I probably have a slight qualitative advantage here with Praetorians against Carthaginian cavalry, but beyond that I took some losses against the elephants, so actually it's probably about even. But at the beginning of the battle I had a 2-to-1 numerical advantage, and he was drip-feeding his cavalry in, whereas I had a blob of men, a concentrated attacking force. And this is what I'm talking about. When you hit someone, hit them hard. Don't throw small pellets at them. Hit them with a big frigging stone. A wrecking ball. Think wrecking ball. So this that's going on here now is a standard Alexandrian, you could say, hammer and anvil tactics. The infantry is holding his infantry. I've won the cavalry battle on the right flank. The cavalry is freed up, and I sweep into his rear and I obliterate him. And that's the end of that battle. So in summary, what happened? He let his elephants get out front alone, and I concentrated force on them. I took out his elephant. I created about a standoff. He had the better position. I had slightly more troops and better troops, but had I attacked headlong I would have probably lost this. And then I waited for the opportune moment and I hit him hard with everything I had. So I guess that's it. A couple of mantras to take out. Always have a strategy for winning before you start, and always hit hard when you hit. I hope you've enjoyed it, and until next time, stay frosty.